Hey guys, Justin Conroy, Financial Dad here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make a very simple starter budget, because when it comes to managing money, paying off debt, and ultimately building wealth, having a solid foundation in how to make a budget and use a budget is everything. So in this video I'm going to give you a step-by-step process starting from the beginning, from scratch, on how to make your budget when you have a blank sheet in front of you. So by the end of this video you'll have all the knowledge you need to start your budget, see how your money is coming, see where it's going, and understand how to predict where your money is going to be in the future, because if you can see the future, you can change it. So with that, do me a big favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let's move to my computer and let's get started. So like I said, we're going to start with a blank sheet in front of us. Now, I'm going to use Google Sheets because it's easy, it's free, it's accessible. You can get it by simply having a Gmail account and going to sheets.google.com, and it's right there. Feel free to do this in Excel or on paper if you want, but I'm going to use the spreadsheet because I think that's easier. But I don't want this to be a full-blown spreadsheet tutorial, so bear with me if I skip any spreadsheet tutorial steps. I'll try to say things as I do them, but pay attention more to the budgeting, less about the spreadsheeting. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first step in creating any budget is to write down your income. Now, I believe that using an example is the best way to do things, so we're going to assume that we are a teacher making roughly $50,000 a year with a little bit of money from tutorials. That way we can have two sources of income, and I can show you how that works. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to come down into row 5, just leave ourselves a little bit of space, might not be enough, but we'll see. We're going to write down total income. Now under that I'm going to write paycheck, and then I'm going to write tutorials. Okay. Now, we said our teacher makes $50,000 a year. We're going to assume that most of that goes to the government for taxes, and then we're going to divide that by 12 to get our monthly income. So our teacher is making roughly $34.58 per month. Let's go ahead and just round that up to $3,500 per month. That's net pay in their bank account that they can use for spending. Let's assume for tutorials they get $100 a month. We're going to make that a currency there, and we're going to sum this value up for our total income. So we have a total of $3,600 per month. That's step 1 done. Step 2 is to simply write down your expenses. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to write down total expenses. And at this point you need to start listing out all the different categories of expenses that you have. These are things like rent, food, groceries, gasoline, car insurance, etc., etc., etc. Now, it can be a bit daunting to start from scratch, so I'm going to go ahead and cheat a little bit with a list that I put together before the video. I'm going to paste that over here, and you can see where we are going with this. So this is just a list of generic expenses. We have car insurance, car maintenance, car payments, car wash, clothes, dates, education, furniture, fast food. You get the idea. If you don't have a list, or you can't think of how you spend your money, use this as a baseline, and if something doesn't fit into your spending habits or your categories, just add it to the list. It's no big deal. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole purpose of this. I think what people really get confused about when it comes to budgeting is they expect that there's this one size fits all, but budgeting is really about customizing something to fit you, which is why I personally use spreadsheets, and I really don't like the apps that are out there. They just don't really offer the functionality that I want. So use this as a starting place. If something you have doesn't fit, add it to the list. You'll be okay, trust me. Jumping back up to the top here so we can move on with step 2, we need to start putting numbers in for each of these categories. Now, these numbers are going to be our plan for how much money we're going to spend per month in each of these categories. Now, this in concept is actually a very simple thing. We need to plan our money so that we can write it down. But the reality is that if you've never done this before, this can be a little bit tedious, it can be a little bit daunting. Trust me, if you do it once, you'll thank yourself, and it'll be easier and easier and easier every time you do it. So there's a couple of ways you can accomplish this. If you're like me and you don't really use cash for anything, that makes things really easy. All you got to do is go to your bank accounts, your credit cards, download your transactions, and start categorizing them so that you can sum up the money and see how much money you spend in each of these categories. Now, if you're a spreadsheet wizard, that can be kind of easy. If you're not, it can be a little bit manual. Either way, it needs to be done. That's really what this is all about. It does take some work, but it's worth it. That's where your money management comes in, so you can start building wealth. Now, if you do use cash, it's going to be a little bit harder because you don't really have any traceable method of getting the data. So what you can do is make estimates. Now the third way you can get some of this data for certain categories is through your monthly bills. For example, electricity. You get a bill for electricity every month. You can go back in time, look at what those bills were, take an average, and plop it into the spreadsheet here. That'll be good enough. Now, I'll say it's very important to know that it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are normal. As you do this multiple times, as you do this every month, you'll learn from your mistakes, you'll notice where things were wrong before, and you'll do better and better in the future. You should expect that your first budget is going to be a little bit off, but that's just the nature of the beast. The more you do it, the better you'll get. Now for this example, again, just to make a short video and to make things a little bit easier, I have prepared some numbers over here for these categories. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in the spreadsheet now. Alright, so we'll go ahead and paste that there. It's already currency. Looking good. Let's go ahead and sum up these numbers just like we did on the income so that we can see our total expenses. Uh-oh. So we've already got an issue here. You can see that we have more expenses than we have income. That is what we call a negative cash flow, and this is a number that I want to see up top. So I'm going to type in cash flow at the top. This is one of the most important numbers. It's income minus expenses. And there it is. We are negative $220 per month, and this is a problem. So this is really where step 3 comes in, and that's the analysis. We have plugged in our income, we have plugged in our expenses, and we can see right away that we are planning to spend too much money. We're planning to live above our means, and that's a problem. So the only way to really handle that in your life, of course, is to control your actions. You have to be able to control your spending. And the best way to control your spending is to have a plan of where that money is going to go. If you don't have a plan, your money is going to go wherever it goes, and you're never going to know where it goes, and that's the problem. And that's really probably what's happening here in this situation. So we need a plan to spend less money. So let's make a couple of adjustments. Maybe it's not possible to reduce our car payments. We've got a car payment, it is what it is. Right now, there's not much we can do about that. What about entertainment? $250 a month on entertainment. That's quite a bit, actually. Depending on your lifestyle, obviously, it could be higher, it could be lower, but what we've seen so far is we're spending too much money. Let's reduce that number down from $250 to $100. We're not saying cut entertainment completely, we're just saying bring it back a little bit. How about $500 a month on dates? So yeah, if you're single, you're in the dating scene, you're spending a lot of money. It's still probably too much money. We're still negative $70. Now, you could subtract $70 from that $500, but I would tell you it's better to have a really big positive cash flow. The bigger your cash flow, the better. It needs to be more positive. So I would suggest in this case to this person, if they were real, hey, why don't you cut your date budget down to maybe $200 a month? We're not going crazy. We're not eliminating dates completely. Again, we still have a life. We still have fun. But we control our spending to a point where we can actually save $230 per month. Now, there's obviously a lot more things we could attack in this budget, but I'm going to leave that alone for this video. That's not really the point. Now, the next step I really want to show you here is where the real power of budgeting comes from. So we've got 2 more things I want to do. This is what you call a monthly budget. So what I'm going to do is assume that this monthly budget can hold us over for the next 6 months. So let's go ahead and copy these cells, and I'm going to paste those. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and I realize you can't see that behind my head, but that's okay. It's all the same stuff. We now have 6 months worth of budgeting that we can show. Okay. Now, if I add one more row up here, I'm going to call this the cumulative cash. We can take the first one and add it there. That's $230. So in our first month, we have $230 that we saved. But if we do it again, we're going to have the cumulative cash plus the new month. That's another $230. So we can see that we have $460. We paste that across, $690, $920, $1150, $1380. Let me scroll over so you can see. So you can see that by 6 months, we could save over $1,000 by sticking to this plan. Now, whether or not that's good enough for you is up to you, but it's possible. If we stick to our budget, this is where we're going to be. So here's where it gets fun. Why not add some dates to this? It's currently July of 2020 as I record this. I'm going to write July 2020, August 2020, and I'm going to drag that across like so. And again, let me scroll over just a bit. You can see by December of 2020, we can have $1,300 in the bank, and that doesn't include whatever money we already have today. How do we add that in? It's actually really easy. I'm going to add up here, you can put it anywhere you want, but just for sake of time and space, initial value. If you take the balance in your bank account on June 30th, at least for this example, and plug it into this cell and make one little modification, we can get a view into the future, a forecast of where our money is going to be in the next 6 months. And that is so powerful because, like I said at the beginning, if you can see the future, you can change it. So let's go ahead and assume that our teacher had a balance in her bank account of $5,250 in the bank on the last day of June 30th, 2020. Now that number is really important. Now the only thing I'm going to do different is, instead of taking from my first value of cumulative cash, I'm going to take that 230, which is actually this number here. If you look at the equation, it's equals C3. I'm just going to add that initial value. And that will actually give us what is in our bank account every month. This is so powerful because you can see the future. So let me scroll back over. If we stick to the plan, we will have $6,630 by the end of the year. That is powerful. Now, just so that I can share this, I'm going to do a quick time lapse and go ahead and clean this spreadsheet up a little bit so that I can share it with you guys down in the description below. So hopefully that looks a little bit better for you guys, and you'll be able to use the spreadsheet as a way of starting your beginner budget. Again, step 1, fill out your income. Step 2, fill out your expenses. Feel free to customize the list to your needs. That's the whole point. Check your cash flow, analyze your expenses, and make sure that you are having a positive cash flow so that you can understand where your money's going to be in 6 months. And you get there from having that initial value from June 2020, at least in this case. Again, feel free to change the dates, do whatever you want to make this fit you. If you made it this far in the video and you found some sort of educational or entertainment value out of it, do me a big favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Smashing that like button lets YouTube know that you enjoyed this content, you found value in it, and they use that data to help decide whether or not they should push this video to more people. So it really does help this channel grow. Also, I make new videos about wealth building, money management, and personal finance every week, so do me a big favor and subscribe for more content if you're interested. Also, if you're new to personal finance and you need a beginner's crash course, be sure and check out the video on the screen right now, because it'll cover the basics of everything you need to know, and it'll help you get on your path towards wealth. Thanks for watching.